I'm in progress. I'm in progress. Howdy, y'all. I'm away from my mic. Hold on. Late from work. And now I'm paying for it. Welcome to the office hours. This is a live stream. This is a live stream where I do talk about Star Citizen lore and news and stuff like that. We got some stuff to talk about today. Almost there. I'm almost there. All right. It wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for the fact that I have to do it on YouTube and Twitch. Ugh. All right. How you doing, Just Name Change? So, we got some more news because, oh my god, the Sulin, whatever you say it, it is. Whew. Why did DJ not give me a shout out?
Dog Platypus just had a space baby. Our space baby is named Paul's Redeemer, and you will love her forever.
I'm not buying one. I might buy one for giveaway, but I'm not gonna get one for myself. It looks cool as shit. Like, holy shit. Alright, let's get to the office. Now that I'm fully dressed. It has some redeeming qualities. None of that redeemer stuff. How y'all doing? Welcome, my name is Paul, Berserker01, Batman Shelley, your home host and space bartender here at the AstroPub, your space bar at the end of Twitch. Welcome to the office hours. This is a live stream where we talk about news and lore of Star Citizen. It's gonna be a big one. The purple's back? Of course the purple is back.
Take away my spaceship.
I'm gonna wear the white, but swoop.
You can even take away my space lasers.
No pew-pews.
But you can never,
Ever.
take away my space game.
GR_DMJ654 just resubscribed for 34 months.
Thank
That
you
new
so
guard
much.
outfit looks great, but what's the law on that bathroom layout? LOL.
We'll talk about that here in a moment.
You can take away my spaceship.
Spaceship.
You can take away my space suit.
Suit.
You can even take away my space lasers.
Pew-pews.
But you can never, ever take away my space game.
Muktan_SC just resubscribed for 18 months.
Thank you so much, Max, for that 18 months of support. Thank you, GR. Thank you so much for that 34 months. Doc Platypus, our space baby's name is Paul's Redeemer, and you will love her forever. Oh, Doc Platypus.
Silky68 just gifted 2 subs.
Thank you very much for gifting those 2 subs, Silky. You're a very important pupper, very impressive pisser, very new pedestrian. You both rock. Shots and cheers and chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. Woo! Getting that hype train going.
Dem biddies.
Think of dem biddies. They're just a name change. No, we haven't done the, okay. Hold on, we're doing this again. Art Guy Joe. Thanks so much for Art Guy Jose. Thank you so much for that, follow. This is the first time I'm able to catch you live. Well, then, glad. Welcome to the madness. How do they poop? That's a question I'd have to ask Jail. I don't think they poo the same way we do, though. Thank you for watching the videos, Art Guy. I'm waiting for the Caniac.
You can take away my spaceship.
Spaceship.
You can take away my space suit.
Suit.
You can even take away my space lasers.
No pew-pews.
But you can never,
Never.
ever
Ever.
take away my space game.
Keniac89 just resubscribed for 26 months. Over 2 years of making the spaceman dance. Stay amazing.
Thank you so much for that 26 months. Thank you for them
Will the
biddies.
RSI Orion or the RSI Arastra come on?
Arastra. I think it's going to be the Arastra. It's going to be a concept ship. It's not going to be an actual flyable ship. I wasn't expecting the Sulin to be flyable. I'm surprised it was. But for those of you on YouTube, no, we haven't watched it yet. We will be watching it here shortly. It's supposed to be low latency settings, so you should be able to. It should only be a few seconds delayed, like similar to Twitch, but we'll see. See Daddy, ta-da! Are there any more surprises that we're going to have along the way? This IAE? Since you are the person in charge of the IAE store. Sorry to hear that told. You think ISC spoiled everything? Okay. Yeah, especially when we don't have a Jax videos to look forward to. Why is my... Am I back? Okay, I'm back. Ugh. Especially since we don't have Jax videos to look forward to. Those who don't know, we have confirmation, and this would be my feedback to CIG. So this is for CIG communications, marketing, and or community. I know that community has asked me in the past to reach out and tell them individually, but I feel like sometimes they won't listen to me if I don't say it publicly, because there's more pressure that way. But I am 100%. I love in fiction stuff that they do with CIG or the marketing team. I like how it kind of blends the world building in everything. That's fantastic. But if it's a situation where you legitimately are not going to have those, like something like that, something like the Jack's videos, which were pretty well beloved, I think at this point, in the future, and like, you know, other things like that. Tell us, just tell us, so we don't get kind of like do the little, oh no, Jack says it, and then be like, hey, by the way, we're not doing Jack's videos because of these other things. Like, that was fine. That'd be fine if you did them both at the same time. Perfect, wonderful. Come on.
Space game.
Walker_TR1 just resubscribed for 2 months.
Hey!
Paul.
Thank you, Walker, for that 2 months of support. You're a very important public, very impressive, Mr. Any pedestrian. This is your fault. Here's my drinking night. Shots and cheers and cheers, JL. Shots and cheers. This is pretty standard for leaks, or are there actually surprises sometimes? There are some surprises sometimes. It depends on what's going on. Like, I don't think the leaks talked about the AA until, like, really recently. They've been talking about the Sulin for fucking ever. Huge speculation question for you. They showed the hover trolley type car for the new cargo elevators, and the base building showed that small buildings will be built by hover trolley. Yes, Encon? TK Rex, thanks for the $5 of super chat. Cuddy Black just lost its front tractor beams. Do I think they'll add? Do you think they'll add anything to compensate? It feels like they would totally change the design. That would totally change the design. Its design. I don't know. I think CIG. So I'm going to be quite honest. There's a couple of things that have I have learned over the years of talking with CIG employees, former and current, and following the game. One of the biggest things that CIG struggles with, and will probably always struggle with, is communication, internal and external. They're such a huge fucking company that keeping everything lined up in a row is impossible. Like, for instance, I will probably always know more lore than anybody else at the writing team, other than maybe Dave Haddock. But I probably know more lore than Dave Haddock. That's not because they're bad at writing, it's just they have other jobs. Their job is to write a bunch of different things, and they split that load across 5 different writers, which means that each writer is going to write something specific. Then they don't have to learn it because it's their job, and their other kind of life, they have other things they do, passions, maybe they write on their own for their own stuff, that kind of thing. So they're never going to follow along all of that. I think it's the same way where I think CIG forgot that there was supposed to be forward tractor beams for the Cuddy sometime after the rework of the Cuddy, like in 2016, 2017. And they never fucking took off those little icons about it getting tractor beams in the front. And when they came to the tractor beams, they were just like, okay, we're gonna put it in the middle, and then they just didn't even think about the front because the front doesn't make a lot of sense unless it's a grappling with an enemy ship. The front tractor's beams were original design when the Cuddy was supposed to be a salvage vehicle. Yes, there's some other aspects to it too. Thanks so much for that 79 79 AUD. Is that dollary dues there, author? Do you think they'll be the same thing, and will they surprise us with? They won't be the same thing. No, you're talking about the tractor, the trolleys, the hover trolleys. They won't be the same thing. The hover trolley that's going to be the building one that looks much smaller than the one that's designed to hold the big cargo stuff. Happy IAE Eve. You mean IAE Eve? Jax is away right now. Please leave a message after the Odyssey explosion.
You can take away my spaceship. You can take away my space suit. You can even take away my space lasers. But you can never, ever take away my space game.
Hey, Angry PC Tech. gonna get a shout out for Andrew PC Tech if we have Cuban's here. Hey Cuban.
Firehawk0017 just resubscribed for 3 months. 3 months in, waiting on the Paul Deemer.
Thank you so much for that 3 months of support there, Firehawk. You're a very important pupper, very impressive pisser, very new pedestrian. This is your fault. You're trying to drink a night. Trust and cheers in chat, y'all. Trust and cheers. I love watching the stream. I just wish the character limits on these comments wasn't so tight. YouTube is weird with its character limits. I don't think there's any character limits on Twitch. There might be, but our ad's going to start in about a couple seconds, so I'm going to pause here for a moment while I'm getting everything set up. On YouTube, on Twitch, I should say.
The first time I saw the con.
Twitch is a 500 character limit. I think it's like a 200 character limit on YouTube. I found that I accidentally did debugging a bot one day. Now I need some coffee after that oddly rousing ASMR, my dude. Bite by dude. Yeah. Ready for IAE here. I guess the ads is already finished. Got a pre-IAE available purchase done and applied spreadsheet plan locked and broken down with generous buffers estimated price for every new ships I'm interested in. I'm so ready to blow an entire paycheck. I've got other things I got to worry about, but thanks to you all, and thanks to lots of other things, I'm pretty secure in funds right now. So, do you think the role of the Cuddy Black will change with the redesign? Then it seems it strayed far from its original purpose, but the frame is iconic at this point. Its original purpose is not. Yeah, well, it's strayed way beyond its original purpose for a while. It's always been a light transport. Since the redesign, it's been a light transport slash combat, militia combat ship. That's what it is. It will always be that. They've changed the tackle mechanics so that you're going to have like an SRV, and I'm sure they'll come out with a Drake tackle ship at some point. If not, just using a Caterpillar for that role. We'll see. Will the Orion loan in our Astro if it comes out first? Why do y'all think the Orion's coming out first? That thing is huge. Tackle roll? So, Drake, the Cutlass was originally supposed to be a search and rescue and salvage ship. I don't know why I'm doing these quotation marks, but, you know, I don't know. Why do you think I'm doing these quotation marks? Oh, now the ad's hitting. Okay. I didn't know why it was taking so long. I'll wait for the ads to roll in. Them biddies. Thank you for them biddies there, Dracon. I gotta turn off that. It runs for too long. I think it runs for like almost a minute now. The biddies does. Should be at 30 seconds.
take away my spaceship.
Ship.
You can take away my space suit.
Suit.
You can even take away my space lasers.
No pew-pews.
But you can never,
Never.
ever
Ever.
take away my space game.
TheAstroPub just resubscribed for 14 months. OFDO7.
Thank you so much for that. 14 months of support there, TheAstroPub. You're very important pupper, very impressive, Mr. Very new pedestrian. This is your fault. The return to good night. Shots and cheers in chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. All right, sound alerts are on. I'll turn on the other stuff here. All right, I'm gonna go back to watch this. But I will say, effectively, the original Cutlass was supposed to be a salvage and search and rescue ship, and read between the lines, it was a pirate ship, and it was designed with salvage and search and rescue as its cover, and or it was its original design, and then it got turned into a pirate ship because of that. It's kind of a both thing. The reason why the red and the blue exist. Or red and the vulture exist, actually. But the reality is that as things moved on in the game design, a lot of things had to change. So the Cutlass still remains, and probably I still would argue is the best pirate ship because of how flexible it is. Its side opening doors are amazing. It's got a pretty decent cargo hold. While it's not the best PvP fighter, it's still a decent fighter if you know what you're doing with it, especially if you have allies to help you out. But I take offense, the Cuddy is a respectable ship. It's so basically its role never really changed. It's just its original role changed back when they had to change the dimensions of the Cutlass. It got big. It's the Thickless now. It's huge. And it's not going to get another rework. It's just they just forgot to change the tractor beam demarcations on the front canards. That's what it is. It was just the art forgot to swap it out. That was it. That's really the answer. CIG just forgot.
Concept of the Sulin, I immediately went over to Ben Curtis and asked him if I could make it.
By yourself?
By myself.
Michael Oberschneider did the Raylan, and I scouted a lot in his old sketches and the first phase of that ship, and I found a pretty nice triangle sketch, and that's where we started from.
We really wanted to have this feeling of grandeur. It's a relatively small ship, but all its kind of stylings and its shape, language, and forms really are there to make it feel strong and impactful. And so we really tried to kind of push that as much.
That looks cool as fuck. I'm just going to say it. Like, when I first saw that, I'm like, that is like nothing I have seen before in Star Citizen. Like, that is completely alien. And then I realized if you gave it a certain different language, different like curvatures, it could look like a human ship, but it, like, not in Star Citizen.
As much as we can.
It looks Vulcan, yeah. It's not very big. It's a very small cargo bay.
The Gattax Sulin is Gattax's introduction to the civilian space market with a essentially starter ship from an alien race.
It's kind of really defining what that manufacturer is for us.
It has everything any player needs to take their first steps in the universe. It can carry cargo. It's got onboard living quarters and a good selection of weaponry for a starter to not die immediately when you get out into hostile space.
When the player first sees the Sulin,
look at that. Look at that. What the fuck? And like the marbling on the like the wings makes it look like stone. Like, that's just cool as shit. That's just really fucking cool. It looks ancient. That's great. Yeah, it almost looks like a drop pod. Yeah. We were talking about in the Discord. This is the way it lands and takes off. So my thought is what's likely is that this ship was designed with the idea of radar landing view, or the landing radar view, the landing view coming in. Like that's what this is designed for. Yeah, and looking at it now, and people saying a drop pod, it looks a lot like a 40K drop pod. In terms of size too, it's about the same size as a drop pod would be. And the Vulcan.
We really wanted it to feel kind of just superimposing. It's got this amazing stance where it's kind of towering above you.
The Sulin is almost this monolithic structure that will appear in your hangar, unlike anything you'll have seen before. It's very dominating, almost Sith-like, dare I say it.
With its vertical design, it looks completely different to any other starter ship that we've brought out before.
You'll notice it's a very polished ship, very deliberate with all of its forms and shapes, but then when it comes to its mechanical structure, it's not like our manufacturers like Origin, where it's very high-end but exposed almost, more like Drake. So you'll see all the mechanisms, all the inner workings.
Hey, this is a starter
As you
ship.
approach the interior of the ship, you'll notice a little button on the side. You press that, and the wall of the exterior will cascade down into a set of stairs.
If I remember correctly, this is made by the same designer who did the Fury. That's fucking impressive.
Greeted by like this crazy
I hate to say it, but like, put that dude on the Banu.
Gravlev sort of
this is a
animation
starter.
where the sort of
Little
wool
bit,
fractures
yes.
and spreads out. Something rooted in the Xian lore about their trivial use of Gravlev tech, and just to be able to see it like sort of do something.
I think a lot of these folks are new. Like I think that's a new vehicle artist too.
Crazy that we can't do with most of the ships is really cool.
As you enter the ship, you'll be in what we call the airlock, or the ground floor, kind of like an engineering space. All the walls feel quite clean, quite sleek.
You'll get quite an unusual sense of the place because of the rock materials that you've got going on that feel very alien when you walk onto a spaceship.
All of the walls, the panels, fly out, separate, and reveal these crazy big component bays, an armor locker, and also a really cool weapon rack that pops out the wall using that cool grav.
It's definitely not the silhouette from the CC. Yeah, I thought it might be because I like a lot of the things where people were showing like the three limbs in the leaks, and I was like, that sound maybe if it lands like forward like a little acorn, it'd be good, but no. He don't miss. Yeah, this is fantastic. I love that these two folks were working on this because they definitely have that passion. I know they call it a starter themselves, but time goes by. I feel like the term starting is starting to lose all meaning for what expecting from a ship. Well, I mean, if you look at the stats, it's got 6 SEU of cargo space. It has a bed, it has a weapon rack, and it has a cockpit. That's about it. And it's got a bathroom. So it's a little bit more fancy because it has a bathroom, but that's more of a, they had the space considering the shape, language, and the design they were going for. So why not? Yeah, it's similar to a Nomad, but it's still less than a Nomad because its cargo space is a little bit smaller. So I would say, I mean, it's probably going to be cost the same as a Nomad, to be honest. It's a starter ship that's going to cost $90, but starter ship means relatively small, multi-purpose. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to be simple or cheap. That's true. The 100i is neither simple nor cheap.
Tech we spoke about. In between two of those component bays, you'll notice the lift embedded into the floor. It's got a really cool glass floor to it, and you'll notice a nice hover plate of Xian text, which we've kindly translated into English for you.
We wanted it to feel like it could be inhabited by...
No. Give me the option to turn off the English.
By both Xian and human. That was kind of like a design ethos we had. So you'll go on the elevator, which features both.
So once you use the lift to enter the habitation deck, you'll notice a really nice small space, quite simplistic, but that's kind of like how the Xian like it.
The Xian are very close to nature. We wanted to create this sort of like cave feeling in a couple of places. That was in the bed, and that's a really nice little area for you to lie down at the end of a journey.
Yeah, but 315p is not a starter ship, it's an advanced starter.
Kind of like a...
Is this the first Xian ship? It is not. The Cartu all would like to talk to you. The fucking Scout exists. It is Buster's favorite ship.
Almost like the way it kind of is embedded into the wall. Still comfortable though, I can assure you.
It's a lot warmer, a lot more inviting. Yet through its materials, it still feels like a bit alien. On your left, you've got a bathroom.
You're talking to Lloyd about the bathroom, right?
The bathroom is, you could say complicated. I would say amazing in terms of design. It's definitely over-engineered.
The first thing you will notice is this silver sink almost on the left-hand side.
Which will serve two purposes if you know a little bit about Xian lore. So Xian poop a little bit differently to humans, so they use...
I'm looking it up. I'm looking it up, chat. Calm down. I know you're about to lose your mind because you're like, Paul, tell us how they poop. We want poop lore. Poop lore is important. Do I have to call jail up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and be like, Jail, tell us about how the Xian poop? So, Xian, they poop like birds. So they poop and pee together. And their toilets are compared to bird baths with a fountain. So it's a bird bath with a built-in bidet. So there you go. That is where they poo and pee at the same time.
Is that...
That is where they poop and pee. The poo and the pee are stored in the butthole. I love how the human toilet is elegantly stowed away, but the Xian one is looking like a high school urinal. I think that's the point, because this is supposed to be like a starter ship. So, like, a human owning this would have no purpose for the Xian toilet. They might, like, it reminds me of a story. My father, when he went to university, he went to an all-male university that went to co-ed, like, in the middle of his time there. And when they went co-ed, they actually didn't build a new dorm. They just took a dorm and they converted it for women. And my dad once asked some of the women, like during like a lunch break, it was like, you all still have the urinals in your bathrooms, right? And they're like, yeah. Like, what do you do with the urinals in your bathroom? And they and the women all laughed and said, we turned them into self-watering plant pots. They just put dirt into the urinal and just flushed it to grow plants. So, like, I feel like this is what a human would do. You just put a little plant in there, and then you push the little flush button, and then you got yourself a little stuff. Might use the Xian toilet as a sink. I think it is a sink. Like, you could probably use it as a sink. It's got a little bubbler fountain in it, so.
So they use that, we use our toilet. The whole door breaks into a load of pieces. The toilet roll holder sort of assembles itself.
With the most alive.
Oh, but so this is a starter ship. So like I think that's intentional to have that like as a urinal, because like to the Xian, this would be like an Aurora. So like they don't need anything fancy. It's just there.
Elaborate animation, I think, that's ever been put into a video game for toilets.
And again, it was just sort of a show of what's trivial to them is like elegance and high-class design to us. It was just a nice little feature. We wanted to incorporate that sort of how they would live if they were on the ship and how humans would live on the ship.
As you go up into the cockpit, you then have a full open space.
What I like to call the cathedral. The light cascades down and you see the seat presented to you almost like an altar. You enter the seat and you float up on your back, almost like you're about to launch into space on a rocket. And this massive mechanism of plates assemble behind you using Gravtech to hold your seat in place. Really makes you feel like a badass just before you take off.
But does it have a scratching post? No, it's a starter ship. You wouldn't have a scratching post. The scratching post is for the more advanced ships. How does the hover toilet flush though? Gravity. So a lot of people, somebody was asking earlier about like, how would you, so does gravity flip? It's like, no, when you get out of your ship, your gravity is now forcing you sideways. So you're flying like this, but you're walking around like this because the gravity in the ship is still pointing backwards. Effectively, you're flying like a ship from the Expanse, which tells me that all of or a lot of the Xian ships might actually end up looking like that, where they have that sort of vertical design rather than the landing design. Reminds me of a Gunstar. Yeah.
One of the best experiences in the ship is when you sit in that pilot seat and it kind of transforms and the ship moves around you to kind of put you up into a position within the canopy. With most of our ships, you sit horizontal to the gravity plane, whereas with this, you're sat on your back, kind of facing straight up to the stars.
The world is a completely different angle, and it gives a completely different feel to the ship.
For the art team, the vertical takeoff was great. It was one of the things that we were like super keen on getting in from the very start. It may have caused a few headaches for some of the other departments that we work with. There was quite a few people that kind of doubted whether or not it was going to function. But visually, it gives such a nice kind of silhouette to the ship.
I like the fact that we were applying very traditional technology in space exploration to something so advanced.
Flying it is one of those things, the first time you take off in it, your brain has to do a bit of recalibration compared to every other ship in the game.
If you look at the stars, you will see them going from up to down and not from left to right.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, you still fly in the direction you're pointing. It's just that you land and take off essentially 90 degrees to what you are adjusted to. If you throttle forwards, you go up, but that's the direction the ship is pointed.
Obviously, Xian used GravTech quite a lot, and we wanted to make sure we leveraged that as much as possible. However, for things such as wings and thrusters, I think it's really...
It reminds me of Membari ships from Babylon 5.
Really important that we keep that to a minimum. If something's heavy, like, we can't rely on gravity to keep it on.
It has probably the most amount of maneuvering thrusters, I think, of a ship of this size, 24. That is simply to make it one of the most agile starter ships in the game and to cover the required maneuvering angles on a ship when it transforms. So once you've taken off and you retract the landing gear, the ship transforms slightly into a more expanded state. The three main thrusters change angle, the wings change angle, and then this requires the maneuvering thrusters to sort of compensate for that. So the amount of thrusters...
Basically, they've been building technology in the game for this ship. Because for the lore for the longest time, and this is one of those things where I think the lore and the ship teams kind of merged on this idea. They melded, they became of one mind. The Xian ships were always supposed to be different because they're supposed to be insanely maneuverable. Like, you can do crazy shit in a Xian ship that you can't do in a human ship. The difference is that Xian ships are absolutely atmospherically garbage. Like, they struggle in atmosphere compared to human ships because human ships are designed for atmosphere. And they're also not very fast, really. They can be pretty fast, depends on the ships, but they mostly rely on their technology, so they rely on shields over armor, that kind of thing. And it's like an Oracle from Halo. Yeah, it feels very Forerunner-esque almost, yeah. It's a tri-fighter, yeah. Oh, sorry. But yeah, so like a lot of the technology for like how the ships are supposed to move, like their main thrusters are also maneuvering thrusters. That was developed recently, which kind of makes sense as to why this and the Santokyai were being built at the same time. That tracked pretty well. Because there was that technology was for the Xian ships, it was also for a couple of other ships. It's just like how the thrust mechanics worked were slightly different.
So the ship allows it to be pretty agile regardless of state, regardless of atmosphere or space.
Oh, I prefer the vertical takeoff compared to the...
That's not what the STY description says. What are you talking about the STY? I don't know what the STY description is. I don't know what we're talking about there total.
normal. It's just a completely different feel, and you can land in tighter spaces.
My favourite part of the ship is definitely the way it transforms out of landing mode into deployed. All of the wings fold back, so the landing gear is actually built into the edges of each of the wings. At night, it's even cooler. All of the headlights move around because they're all animated on part of the wing, and so does the light pop out of the end of the landing gear, which lights up those big pieces.
Landing it requires a little bit of adjustment compared to traditional flight in Star Citizen. You deploy your landing gear as you would, the ship transforms, the landing gear comes down. But instead of landing...
I'm going to tell you right now, from my limited experience with PvP, and any of the PvPers in the chat can confirm on this, this thing's going to fucking just eat shit in PvP. This thing is going to be a terrible dogfighter, because you're just going to eat everything. You're going to pancake yourself every time you point your gun at an enemy, and your wings are going to go. This is going to have the reliant problem, where you're just going to be plucked like a chicken. So the only way you're going to defend yourself is by be constantly behind your enemy. You'll have to constantly outmaneuver them, which again might be the thing. It's a Dorito 3D. Yeah. It's this cross section. It is the most cross section of cross sections. Hey, Malakiri.
On your belly, you essentially land on your behind.
Kind of gives the nod back to some of our classic kind of modern day space shuttles, but it kind of gives a real unique experience on takeoff and landing.
It takes a little bit of getting used to.
Depends on the tricord and how quickly it can change its path in a merge. Yeah, I think its maneuverability is going to be the key. It's going to fight like a light fighter. So,
but the payoff is just the way the ship flies and the silhouette of it, and just the unique feeling, making it feel really alien compared to our other ships.
So being the first ship from the manufacturer Gattac that people were going to see in game, for me it was really important that it had a real impact on the player.
I think players will appreciate the fact of how much we've managed to fit into such a small platform.
So the Sulin is pitched as a starter ship, but it sort of goes beyond.
What kind of space shuttles he's looking at? Yeah, no, he's talking about the Lunar Lander is what he's talking about.
Some of our other starter ships. It has a lot of.
It has carved in runes. Well, not runes. It's Xian language. So
onboard living, so it allows you to do a little bit of exploration, a little bit of pathfinding. It's not as good as dedicated explorers or pathfinders, but it is sort of better than other starters in that regard. The big unique factor of the Sulin is simply the visual style, being an alien ship.
I think we've not had very many opportunities to really show off what we can do with our alien races yet, and so this for us was a real opportunity to really distinguish that ship from our...
This was CIG's art team sitting there, and the development team being like, yo, we finished with all the Squad 42 ships. Let's show them what we fucking did with the Vanduul. And do that for the Xian. There is a Xian ship in Squadron 42. It's already been shown off in the teaser trailer. It is a large cargo ship. So they already have, which would be Gattac. 100% would be Gattac. So this is almost certainly using assets or some visual design language from that ship, which is already in Squadron. So,
our more human manufacturers.
The overall feel of the ship is far, far different to any other that came before it.
We tried to build a bit of.
Has CIG ever talked about fixing the fact that missions keep making players travel across the system? Yeah, they're just not going to bother to do that until they have the new mission system in, or the new the way that they're doing the dynamic stuff in.
Mystery on how this thing works. It was quite exciting to try something different from the usual way we did spaceships.
The concept is completely striking, unlike anything I'd seen.
Like
Obviously, being a fan of vehicles full stop, regardless of whether they're a spaceship, ground vehicle, real or fictional. Seeing this was unlike anything I'd ever experienced before, and I was desperate to be part of the construction of it.
Compared to our other starter ships, this is something entirely different, both flight and visual, and that sort of sets it apart from the others. If you just don't want to be run-of-the-mill Star Citizen player, then the Sulin is for you.
I'm guessing it's size 2 guns. Looks like 2 size 2s. Yeah, it's basically CIG's mantra. Don't fix what we're going to replace in 10 years. I think CIG is almost always overambitious about when they're going to replace something, but 3 size 3s. 3 size 3s. That makes it almost a freaking saber. By the way, you want to learn more about the C1's lore? I did just release a video on the Astro Historian. Go watch it. I'll wait. I won't, but it's about 12 minutes long. It's a pretty interesting lore bit. They just released the lore for it in October during the Jump Point magazine. So I was like, it's perfect timing. I'll do that and get that out there before the C1 comes out. So. I'm part of the Nomad or Titan. Hey, Chris Harrow. 3 sides, 3 guns. Chris would know. Chris would be the one who knows. Because Chris is the one who did all of the script. By the way, I forgot to pick up the calligraphy piece there, Chris. I'm sorry. I just got so things stuck up in other things during CitizenCon. Thank you for watching the lore video there, Outlaw. What did C Daddy say? Someone says, I accept your answer, C Daddy. I don't even see what C Daddy said. I gotta watch this down. I'm pausing it until I see what C Daddy said. Oh, landing it is tricky. How pissed is Xenothreat that an alien ship is leading this year's CIG, this year's IAE? Have you seen the floor? They're very mad. They have big mad. Like landing a Gunstar. Okay, I'm gonna have to look up what a Gunstar is. Oh no, I know what that is. That's the Last Starfighter. Yeah, no, I know it now. They're very big mad. Yeah. Send me your postal address and I'll send you a new calligraphy. And make it this weekend. Okay, I will. I think they got asked about the lobster much more. Everyone was going to get a lobster plushie from Drake. Oh, the Drake lobster that everyone wants to do. By the way, fun fact: the E1, it doesn't. You know why it's weird? You have the A1, which tracks with the A2, and the C1, which tracks with the C2. You know why it's called the E1? Because it's short for Executive One. Because the first Spirit was actually the personal transport, designed personally by the CEO of Crusader Industries, Kelly Kaplan. Do you want to know more? Watch the video. So that's what the E1 is a callback to her ship, the Executive One.
The Crusader Spirit C1 is the cargo variant of the Crusader Spirit series. It swaps out the...
CIG is ambitious. You know, so I could cry some more. Yes. CIG is ambitious. AI way under industry standard. Source, please. Character animations are outdated. Again, source, bad sound and sound detection, etc., etc. I feel like you didn't actually watch any of the stuff that they're doing for updating, but okay. That's just like your opinion, man.
The bomb bay, the central section of the ship for a large cargo hold. It fits some of our ground vehicles in it, and it's really very much a purpose-built kind of cargo hauler. Just did a whole thing on the A1 at CitizenCon. It's basically that, but just with cargo. No. Nope.
I love that. I love that and love and hate that.
And it's really very much a purpose-built kind of cargo hauler. Just did a whole thing on the A1 at CitizenCon. It's basically that, but just with cargo.
Yes. Don't listen to them. Yes, you're right. You're 100% right, Curtis. You're right.
No.
The Spirit C1 is the cargo hauler of the Spirit family.
This is Crusader Industries' Cutlass competitor.
Its closest competitors are the Cutlass Black and the Freelancer. They're all roughly about the same size, the same cargo capacity. Compared to our other cargo ships in the game, this sits in sort of the lower half of straight cargo capacity. Certainly compared to some of the other Crusader ships like the Starlifters that carry a huge amount of cargo, this is on the lower end. You can put 32 SU cargo crates in there, or you can put vehicles in there. It's not a dedicated vehicle hauler, but there are a lot of vehicles cyclone-sized and below that will fit inside it. It utilises that central room to essentially be stripped out and filled full of cargo, and it can carry them internally, which affords that cargo some protection. So
it is technically close in range to the same size. The difference is in terms of its height and weight, length, and like its length is almost exactly the same. Its height is almost exactly the same. Its width is where it goes weird. Like its height is like 40 something meters, and like the Freelancer and the Cutlass are in the like high 30s. So they're like within 10 meters of one another, which I know it's like, well, that's a long distance. Like, yes, I know, but you know, the thing is, it's its wings. Its wings are almost as big as its height. It's actually bigger than its height. The Max, yeah, it's very similar to the Max. I would have very comparable to the Max in size. The difference is it has massive fucking wings, which allows it for more lift in the new flight model they're coming up with. So.
Compared to, say, a Hull A, which has the same cargo capacity, you are trading off the quick access of being able to put it on the outside of the Hull A for the security of having it on the inside of the Spirit.
For the styling of the Spirit, we try to keep that Crusader DNA in there, so it's all very like sleek, continuous paneling with like little pockets of like high-tech greeble in there.
It's a lot like the Starlifter in visual style. I'll try to take all the good elements and fun elements of that, compact it down into not a small area, but a smaller area. So I stripped down the bomber variant of the Spirit, stretched out the floor detailing from the rear, especially the tracks, to make it suitable for vehicles to get in there. Made some big areas on the side so you can fit the really huge SCU containers on there. The walls, they've got a very specific shape, and that is so that those big containers can fit in there without hitting the edges. We're trying to keep that Crusader style in there as well. It's got some fun lighting in there to show off all the bits and gubbins.
It's all very nicely sandwiched.
You say nicely sandwiched?
Nicely sandwiched. So you've got like the bread, which is like the nice paneling, and then you've got like the filling, which is like all the nice black greeble. Greeble sandwich.
Being a Crusader ship, the Spirit C1 is...
Don't eat that sandwich. CIG, CIG may not say it, but I have the balls to say it. That's a disgusting sandwich.
Is a elegant cargo hauler.
Hey,
it
Astro,
looks
Astro,
fast.
yes.
It is fast.
It's well armoured, well armed for fast transport of that valuable cargo.
So on the exterior, the main difference on the C1 versus the other variants is we've cleaned up the top of the ship.
You'll notice that the roof kind of...
Hello, what is the point of the new FPS tractor beam instead of the old? I don't understand the difference and know the advantage of buying it. So Zflix, eventually all of the tractor beams are going to get batteries. They all come with batteries right now, but they'll have limited use. The new bigger FPS tractor beam is a dedicated tractor beam for moving cargo and other things like that. The small handheld tractor beam we had up until recently, that is designed for emergency movements or EVA. It's an EVA assistance. It's a multi-tool. So it's EVA, it can work for picking up some smaller items or some other items and moving around, but you can also swap it out for medical or other things like that. But it's designed as an emergency quick use which is not going to give you very much power for moving large quantities for a long time. So if you're loading up a huge item, it won't be able to pick it up. If you're pulling a lot of smaller items, it'll use up a lot of the battery, so we'll have to have a lot of backups. That's effectively what it is. Also, the big tractor beam, I think, can flip vehicles now. So they can now actually write vehicles. So if you're using vehicles a lot, you need one of those as part of your toolkit.
Kind of switches out. So the C1 has more of like a sleek, like simplified roof.
It's a little bit more aerodynamic.
So to help you load cargo in and out of the ship, especially those larger cargo crate sizes, there is a tractor beam turret on the rear of.
Adam, thank you for the info. Yeah, no. So you got to keep that in mind. Like, our suits currently have EVA fuel. That's not going to happen forever. Eventually, probably by the end of next year, they'll have swapped out our suits, so they will no longer have the ability to EVA, and you'll be using the new EVA system, which means you're going to have to be pushing and pulling yourself around in space, or using your tractor beam, or using a dedicated EVA armor, or some sort of like system that you have to help you move around. FPS tractor beam will not move the storm. Yeah, but the other vehicle tractor beams should be able to. Yeah, I went live right before I went straight to
the ship that can transform from being on top of the ship to help you grab cargo to around the underside of it to help you actually physically load it into the ship and arrange it onto the cargo grids within.
When we think about variants, I think it's personally important that we're not just talking about kind of a loadout change and a tint palette change. For me, I think
not all armor will EVA. That's OP. Yeah, no, like a lot of the armor, especially the combat armor, won't be designed to EVA. You'll need a special EVA, which not necessarily EVA, like it'll be sealed, but you won't have like EVA thrusters. You have to go manually back to back and like using tractor beams and stuff. So in the future, if you want to go extravehicular activity in 0G, you're going to need an EVA like suit rather than just a combat suit.
The more we can do with both the interior and the exterior to really sell the idea that this is a separate ship is kind of super important. With the Spirit, we've made some changes to the exterior and interior, as well as the normal loadout changes. And that, for me, just adds a little bit more value to what we class as a variant ship. It's not a case that we can always afford to do that for all of our ships, but where we can, that's the way we like to go.
So you've got the Cutlass Black for the Drake owners who like doing Drake things. You've got the Freelancer for the working class of the universe. And then if you want style and speed.
Why you got to do that to us, John? Why you got to hate on us Cutlass owners? Why? Join us. It's so much better on the Drake side of life. Is it, are you just mad that you just can't get good? Get good, John. Get good and join us on Drake.
Then the Spirit C1's there. And you'll look a lot cooler doing it too.
Okay. I feel really bad because the guy who designed this, I know, is a junior or is like a new hire. I don't know if this is their first job in the industry. It may not be, but you're not going to like my response to this. It's not a good vehicle. It's too weak to be a tank and too wide to be a support vehicle. And the fact that you have to egress and enter and egress from the front, where you're likely getting shot at the most in combat, is stupid. This thing, the thing that saves the storm, 100% saves the storm, is its variant. But I will also say, people who have apparently Reddit lost its goddamn mind over this thing, being like, well, it can't fit in the Valkyrie. So CIG lied to us. They're trying to scam us out of it. And I'm like, motherfucker, we've been like, I know I've been saying for forever that its width is bigger than the Nova. Like, it's huge. It's like, it's bigger than the Nova's width. We knew it wasn't going to fit into much, if anything. Oh, no, I was on that thread too. But yeah, Adam Parker, I love Adam. Adam is the sassiest of sassy developers. They give zero shits. Absolutely zero shits. And I love them for it. Adam was born and raised on Warhammer community discussions. So Star Citizen community is child's play compared to the garbage that the Warhammer community produces for discussions. Fits in the Corsair and in the what is it? The Carrack. It fits in both. It just doesn't fit in anything else. It fits in more than the Nova does because the Nova only fits in the Hercules. So, poil. Pale poil. Yeah. I guess it technically fits in Liberator too. The problem is that it can't fit into a Valkyrie. We may as well just haul a Nova tank. In a Hercules, yes, but you can't haul a Hercules in a Corsair.